You're listening to the Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
Hello gang, this is our last show of the year. It is Tuesday the 18th of December 2012.
It is. Good evening, Paul.
Hello matey, hello. What a year it's been. What a year it's been. And what an intro song that is, because this is a magical kingdom that we live in. It is kingdom. Kingdom. The word kingdom. Well, what's the word dom mean? We know what the word dom means. The word dom means English or England. Because we remember the MPs, have you ever told about the non-doms?
The non-doms.
Remember those non-English people who were living here and were not paying unnecessary taxes and that sort of thing? Mm-hmm. So we know dom is England or English attachment. And now we think of the word kingdom. And this is the only kingdom on the planet, isn't it?
Yep.
Yep. And then looks at the word wisdom.
Yeah.
Now then, think about that. Okay, the word whiz, you think is the word wise, and on one level it is, but it actually translates as English class. That's what it actually translates as. Mm. And what were you like at English?
Rubbish.
They didn't teach us to spell as clever as they can, did they? Now, tonight, we're actually freestyling tonight. We're actually, no guest tonight. I think on the 18th of December to ask a guest to give up the time. A week to go to Christmas, when they've probably been doing it all year. No, we're going to go, we're sailing solo, flying solo, whatever
tonight.
You want to call it tonight, yeah?
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll
now,
see what we can
we
fill.
have collected up together, I think there must be over 20 stories there.
Yeah.
And how many do you think we'll actually do?
Probably 3 or 4, maybe. If we can't.
How many? I know most people will not be picking this show up live. You'll be listening to this on YouTube, and I am very grateful that you've done so. We have moved house. We moved off from a radio station that we were associated with for the best part of 6 months, and I'd like to wish everybody associated with that station a very, very happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. But it was time to move along. Yep. Because a difference of opinion is a very healthy thing, isn't it?
It should be.
It is a very healthy thing. Whose teeth have I got in? Anyway, and I honestly say, and I mean this as well, criticism, constructive, is what I'm interested in. Because I know I'm not very good at this. But I like doing it.
Yeah,
okay?
I like doing it too.
I like doing it. It feels... It educates me. It makes me remember stuff better. And... on a Tuesday night, well, what else are we going to do?
What else we're going to do?
This is the best fun ever. Mm-hmm. We can talk to anybody, at any time, at any place in the world, free.
Yeah, and we wanted to share things, didn't we?
That's what it's all about. To show that you care is to make the word share.
Share.
Yeah, and to frighten people to death is to stop caring, because that'll scare them.
That'll scare them,
That's really as easy as this language actually breaks down. Whether we end up doing the language tonight or not, I don't know. But we usually say, what's your last 7 days been like? What have you been up to?
Just this and that, surviving.
Surviving,
yeah. Tried to order logs today, and the log man's run out of trees.
Because somebody says he can't have any more.
Somebody's let him down with his tree load, I think, which worries me slightly. But anyway, we're one of those that we can't afford the central heating on.
Now we've got our first news story then by absolute default, and this is not. There's no planning in here, is there?
No,
we just start chatting and get cracking.
We just do a freestyle.
I mean, I think we all read the papers, and I know people say the mainstream media is full of lies. Well, do you know what? It's actually not full of lies.
No.
It's full of a version of the truth they want you to believe.
To believe, yes.
And you know, it's not lies, okay? It's not lies. It's obvious now if you read properly. It is not lies.
No, it's decoding it.
It's a version of the truth that they want you to believe is the truth. Because that way you won't ask any questions. And that's why they will tell us what's going on, but they tell us in a way that, you know, look at the European poverty figures. We're nowhere near as bad as some other countries. So somehow we're okay with that.
Yeah.
Somehow we're actually okay with the fact that we're not doing as badly as any, other people. I mean, that's what Children in Need's all about. That's what the endless, relentless, give us your money is all about, to remind you that you're not as badly off as everybody else.
That's it,
so
yeah.
Somehow that magically makes you okay being made poorer. Now, was it last week or the week before when we actually hit the stat that we are making, this country is making its poor people poorer faster than any other country, and it's making more new poor people than ever.
Yes.
I mean, we are leading the Western world in making our people poor. And you've got confirmation over there. What you got?
We have. It's, in the paper, it says here 9 million families face fuel poverty. Easy for me to say. 9 million. I think that's an under-exaggerated figure, is that?
Well, they just do it on incomes, don't they? Actually
They do.
Over 10% of income, isn't it? If you're spending 10%, but they say what... I mean, you're right. 9 million will be the least figure. I'm sure you're right on that. I suspect it's considerably more.
I won't fall into that category,
Exactly.
but I know I do.
You're an example
because
of somebody who might be categorised there.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying there,
and
I don't understand that.
It's not cold enough, or we're jumpering up. We're putting 2 pairs of socks on, we're sitting with jumpers on. Luckily, I'd foreseen this happening 3 years ago and took the liberty of sticking a log burner in. The price of the logs shot up as well. They've gone up from...
But do people see what's happening? Because those 9 million people, at least, and maybe many more, I think there are figures that you can find out there that say it's 11 and higher than 11. But it's millions.
It's millions.
It's millions. Millions of people in what we still think is a first world country are living in fuel poverty. Now, why are we living in fuel poverty? Well, we can argue about that, but the fact is that the resources have been stolen.
They have.
They did belong to the people at one time, with the British gas and the coal and the electricity and the water. It was all in government hands, and it was run for the benefit of the people, for the people. And slowly but surely, it was taken away from us.
Been sold off.
And sold to private corporations. And we never got a penny for it. We never got paid for all the work we'd invested in it.
They did trick us with the shares thing.
They did trick us with
BT,
didn't they? BT and British Gas was the two that I remember.
Yeah.
They did invite us to buy them.
Oh, you can buy shares.
That's right. They did. Well, BT was in there, wasn't it? Anyway, let's not go there.
No.
Now, let's follow on with the fuel thing, because what's happening is, and they know what's happening is, that these 9, 11 million millions of people are actually using less electric and gas. Quite simply because they can't afford to use more.
Exactly.
But the power companies are not letting this go unnoticed, are they? Because as you use 5 and 10% less, the prices magically go up
by that amount.
So we spoke about this a year or two ago, and it's now been confirmed that we're living in a pay more, get less deal. And the power companies are not interested in making less money because their shareholders, which are the powers that be, they're interested in basically fleecing us for everything we've got. And it's obvious. I mean, we've got E.ON putting the prices up. We've got millions in fuel poverty. We think we live in a first world country, and we've got 270 old people a day dying because it's cold. And 270, and that's the figures. That's official figures. You give us a little bit.
I'll give you the spiel there. Cold snap killing.
People need to say this stuff. We need to speak this stuff into conversation.
We do, yeah. These figures will be wrong as well. But cold snap killing 270 people a day. At least 270 people are being killed every day by Britain's big freeze. Health experts warned last night. The cold, and this is Wednesday, December the 12th.
Yeah, I've picked up news stories that we can chat about. But it's going to get cold again.
The cold air, dubbed the beast from the east, is substantially adding to the normal death toll, blah, blah. Many areas will sink. We had the cold snap. But Professor Dame Sally Davis, the chief medical officer,
They're all chiefs and officers, aren't they? Isn't it funny
love these words, don't they?
When you put
Chief.
When you put words together, have a think about going back a few hundred years, because this language that we actually use, right? It's not a brand new language.
No,
it's just the best version of what's always existed. This has not been invented from scratch. All right, they looked at what was already existing and rewrote the programming for us to speak into reality.
Yep.
Okay, and that was a Maritime Admiralty product. Okay, and this is a map, a map to the future. And this, we're following it very well, aren't we?
We're following it to the letter.
Think about, if words sound the same, it's because they are the same, or they're directly connected. Chief rhymes with thief, exactly. The fact that we don't understand the depth of the knowledge that's been used to programmers doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
No.
The word impossible is used by many people. I believe it's vying for Christmas #1. And I'm sure most people will say the word impossible means it cannot be done. But we need to complete that sentence, because what it means is it cannot be done by the person claiming it cannot be done. It doesn't mean it cannot be done. It's the depth of your knowledge and experience that allows you to give your opinion that it can't be done. But the word clearly says it could be done, because it's spelled I'm possible.
Yes.
You know, and when we look at history, whether it be real or whatever, we do appear to be able to do what we want. Eventually. We do appear to say, we want to do this. And then we invest lots and lots of time and effort, expertise, and all our money to make it happen.
Yeah.
We want to go to the moon. Did we go? It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. You know, most people think we did. So the reality is we did. Do I think we went? It doesn't matter.
No.
I think we probably did, actually. I think the conspiracy theory gang are having the time of their life. I really, truly believe that the internet is television 2.0. And we know what television's been used for, because it's been telling us a vision for a long, long time. It has re-engineered the society. It has changed all our values, so they're now completely upside down. And if you think that the internet is something different, you're right. But it's just a better version of television. Now you've got TV 2.0. This is on-demand television. And they are so damn confident that you can spend your whole day on there, and when you've finished, you can't remember what you've bloody learned.
No.
You can't. It's like going to school. I mean, they send our kids to school, they give them 7 different subjects, 30, 35 minutes each. The kids come home from school, you say, what have you done today? They say, I don't know. I really don't know. I can't remember. But it's a guaranteed way to make people, I mean, you're just not going to get it.
Nope. And you can test it out by, if somebody asks one question and somebody else asks another question into Google, and it will give you the answer you're looking for.
Well, it is. Is it the Antichrist? Well, it fits a version of what might be.
It sets up an argument again, doesn't it?
Of course
because
it does.
they're right. It must be right. It's on Google, and I'm right. I'm on Google.
But Google openly admits that they personalise your results.
Yeah.
Well, it means that they've been personalising your results, and they're going to keep personalising your results, and what you get isn't what other people are going to get.
No. And personalising the results doesn't just work on that level, it works on many levels.
Of course it does.
As we've just been talking about this cold snap, and this chief medical officer said that the mortality rises almost a fifth in winter. Now, we do know that employ people to come up with these statistics, but I wonder how many people who on there that have died in pneumonia, which can be brought on by the cold, are not classed as dying of the cold. So that's just an instance of how they can manipulate the figures.
How many people are dying from diseases because they're not nutritionally healthy, because they're eating beans on toast or pot noodles or whatever.
Yeah.
You see, because they can't afford what we would call fruit, meat and vegetables.
They're buying a 99p burger from
well, I don't know about the old
the
people
local
doing that,
chain.
but I see what you're saying.
The local chain.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. You know, I mean, the West is going to die, in my opinion, if we don't turn this around. And admitting how much trouble we're in is my strapline. If we don't admit exactly what's going on, face it head on, get to the heart of the problem, we're not going to. We can pretend we're going to turn this around. We're not going to.
No.
Okay, we need to speak out. We need to be firm, aggressive, but more than that, we need to be interesting when we speak. Now, myself, I think over the past certain 6 weeks, it has become obvious to me, absolutely blindly obvious, that you cannot fix those in the matrix from the outside. You've got to get back in, and you've got to try and get along with what's going on and change it slowly but surely. It's brick by brick. It is going to those council meetings, and it is getting involved with people who can effect change. And you start at the very bottom.
Yeah.
Because that's where you live. That's where we live. We are at the bottom of the pile.
We are.
All right? We are the slag at the bottom of the heap. That's another word that we slang. But we've got to admit that we can't demand change. We have to. We have to learn the power of the word no.
Yeah.
And teach it to others. Because this illusion of power they have over us is only an illusion. And it's propped up by everything around us. But I've said it many times. If an authority figure turns up in your life and said, you must do this, my immediate is, where did you get the power from? And they'll say from my boss and from the council, local council. But where did they get it from? And you have to remember this answer goes right up to the Queen. Where did she get it from? And there is no real proof that they have this power. But there is something that we have to remember. And it comes out, I think, about every March, April, May time. Don't lose your right to vote. Don't lose your right to vote. Just confirm these names over 18 live in your house. And don't lose your right to vote. Now, when you sign that little blue and white form, you have joined the golf club again. Because you have clearly said, I want to be governed. And the minute you've said, I want to be governed, you have just handed all your power away.
Mm-hmm.
You can complain, but you're looking stupid. Because you said, I want to join.
Yeah.
So why are you complaining? If you went down the golf club and you hate golf and you caused nothing but trouble every time you went to the golf club, right, they'd wonder why you joined again next year.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we joining the I want to be governed game year after year after year? Now people say, but we can't make change without joining the system and voting for those that promise us change. How's that worked out for you over your lifetime?
Yeah.
How has that really worked out? Because if you want to tell me that UKIP are going to do it, I'm going to say good luck with that.
Yeah.
And I'm behind you. I'll support UKIP if you want. I'll play their broadcasts. But let's see what happens. Because this system is edging ever closer to not needing your votes at all. This system, I don't know how many more elections we've got, but I don't suspect it's as many as we've had.
No, well, they keep telling us it's voter apathy, isn't it?
I think we haven't got as many in front of us as we've had behind us. Because a dictatorship eventually doesn't need your vote.
No.
It doesn't need it. So whether we've got one more election in the UK, or two more elections, or three more elections...
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Because the system is going to go down its path. And if you follow it, trying to change it, well, good luck with that.
You're happy with the illusion,
yeah.
Carry on,
you know,
but you can change it.
People say, but what's the option then? What's the solution? Okay, if we don't do that. Well, firstly, if nobody voted, then that would be a day, wouldn't it?
That would be a day.
That would be a day and a half. Now, that's not going to happen at all. That's not going to happen. But voting has caused us all this trouble so far.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not believe it could fix the problem in the future. Is Nigel Farage real or fake? I don't know. I've no idea. I'll never know. I like him. He speaks nicely. You know, some of the things he says I can reproduce in my own conversations. I'm okay with it. Can he make these changes? Well, who's he work for? Who does he work for? Right? Who?
Yeah.
He works for the very European committee, the Parliament.
Yep.
That is running our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who understands the tactics of war, they clearly know, don't wait for an enemy to appear. Don't wait for an enemy to amass. Don't be surprised by a flanking type move from somebody you didn't know. You set up the opposition, then employ them, and allow them to appear as opposition. What's the BNP's guy's name? Nick Griffin.
Nick Griffin.
And who pays his wages? Okay, who pays his wages, yeah? The European Union.
They do.
Right. So, the two opposition parties that we have in this country, I don't care about your views about the BNP, it doesn't matter. UKIP, I'm not worried about your politics about UKIP. I've told you, I don't mind Nigel Farage, he speaks well, he gives me stuff that I can use in conversation. Do I believe he can do these things? No. No, I don't believe he can. Do I believe he wants to try and do these things? That may be true. But voting's never fixed anything. So back to, okay, if we don't vote, what we're going to do? What we're going to do? Well, that's right, but you're going to have to do something now, aren't you? Now you're going to have to do something.
Now there's the question.
Now this is where it gets tricky, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because now you're going to have to do something you've never done before. You're going to have to get involved.
You're going to have to get off your butt.
With a process that you know is corrupt. And you're going to have to get involved at the bottom end. That's your local council meetings. That is where you take your local councillors, the ones that stand within the pub drinking, the ones that you wave to in the street or whatever. That's where you now take them to task.
Yeah.
And you remind them that you work for me. And this corruption starts right at the bottom, and it's like a sliding scale of what we can get away with, right to the top. Right to the top. So if the bottom end is fiddling a tenner on expenses, then the next level up is fiddling 100 quid on weekends away.
Yes.
Then the next level is fiddling 1,000 quid on whatever. You see what I mean?
I do, yeah.
And the corrupt system has to be corrupt top to bottom, because those that want to be promoted, right, have to be smarter and more corrupt than the ones that are trying to overtake. It's the playground and the bully syndrome.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, 9:25. I've had my little rants. 3 days to go. 3 days to go. Now, the conversation in my shop is not really coming around to the end of the world. Although I am testing people's...
memory on it.
I am testing people to see if they've heard that this is going to be the end of the world.
Right.
So I think in North Yorkshire I can safely say that there's nobody that I'm aware of prepping for the end of the world.
No, they've not been storing up tins of beans. And
So in North Yorkshire...
There's probably a few Anderson shelters left in North Yorkshire.
For the end of the world. Is it going to be the end of the world? No, I don't think it is. Let's get to where this crazy stuff came from. Let's find out where December 21st, 2012, where did this come from?
It's a kind of mad.
Right, I'll try and actually pressing the right button this time. This will be a good idea. Let's find out the history of December 21st, 2012.
We have been told the end of our world will occur on December 21st, 2012. As 2012 draws to a close, will it be the end of our species, the end of our world, or just the beginning?
In case you haven't heard, the world is going to end in 2012.
December 21st, 2012.
The Mayan calendar basically predicts that the world will end in 2012.
The world is not going to end December 21st, 2012, coming up in just a few days. It is a hoax. It is a premeditated fraud. No Mayan scholars, no archaeologists have ever come out and looked at the Mayan prophecies in the Mayan calendar and said that it states there's going to be an end of the world. The whole thing is a 30-plus year manufactured hoax, a total and complete scam. And we're going to break down exactly who is behind it and why the mainstream media has been peddling this for decades.
Did the Maya think the world would end in 2012? No, they didn't.
Now, the Mayan people are fighting back, saying that the idea of the world coming to an end in 2012 did not come from their calendar.
But where do we find the modern, end-of-the-world 2012 cult beginning? New Age thinkers like Terence McKenna and Robert Anton Wilson launched what has become the 2012 doomsday hubbub in the 1970s. They simply used the Mayan date to launch a kickoff of the New Age scenario to garner attention to their other Illuminati New Age writings. Robert Anton Wilson, in his book, The Cosmic Trigger, said that there would be a scientific quickening similar to what Ray Kurzweil says, and that the singularity would begin to happen on December 21st, 2012, and he used the Mayan date as a symbolic trigger for all of this. But there were countless other New Age gurus and establishment-connected types who came out over the next few decades and continued to push this idea that the world would either physically end on December 21st, 2012, or that a new age would start at that point. And that is exactly what we are seeing being promoted and being pushed right now. This end-of-the-world business is a reoccurring theme throughout history. And it gets people to cop out and to not be involved in their daily lives. It makes you have a feeling of powerlessness. And governments and different institutions have always been happy to promote this. The establishment for hundreds of years has gotten Christians to not be politically involved because going back to the time of the Gnostics, they always believed the world was ending next week. It is a total system to cop out. It is a manufactured superstition. Just as Christians are given the rapture as a reason to stand down and not fight back against corruption and evil, the New Age crowd or the hippies, the trendies, people that didn't believe in God, they needed a reason to not be involved. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and that's what the whole 2012 hoax is about. a artificial superstition to make people turn control of their lives over to the globalist technocrats. Strangely enough, we find the answer to our current superstition in ancient cultures like the Mayan. And I don't just want to pick on them. This was system-wide throughout all human cultures, that you would see the rise of a priest class who would say, if you don't give us the best huts, the best temples, the best food, and finally human sacrifices, the greatest thing they could demand from the general population, the giant Titan god will swallow the sun, or the snake god will swallow the sun or moon, and it will be the end of the world if you don't give the priest class total control. And that's basically what politicians in Hollywood are doing again today. It's the end of the world with terrorism. It's the end of the world with the economy. If you don't give us more control, we're going to go over the fiscal cliff. You remember Karl Rove when he told the New York Times that it doesn't matter if we lie to people, it doesn't matter if we change the political narrative tomorrow, up is down, down is up in a 1984 fashion, because we in the governing class are history's actors now. And you, the public, are in such a coma, you will just accept whatever the new reality is. So sit down and shut up. And that's what these prophets of doom are doing. They are stealing the future. They are pre-scripting what it's going to be, and then we just fall into line and believe it like they're God. Don't let these people dominate and control the future. In conclusion, I want to cover some real threats that could not just destroy the human species, but could destroy this beautiful planet itself. Many top physicists and scientists are on record saying that these giant cyclotrons and superconducting supercolliders like the Hadron facility in Europe are engaged in experiments that could possibly destroy this planet.
By switching on a $10 billion machine in an attempt to recreate the Big Bang. But critics are worried it will create a black hole which could swallow the Earth.
Interestingly enough, CERN goes live on December 16th through the 21st. Many scientists have warned that nanotech could get out of control and create a self-replicating manufacturing system that would overtake the surface of the globe in just a matter of days. In hundreds of major studies, GMO crops that have been eaten by Americans for decades cause near total sterility, brain damage, and deformities in the different rodents that they've been fed to. Major universities for decades have been stampeding each other to publish things like the mousepox recipe that can be redesigned for humans very easily and inexpensively and kills more than 90% of mammal species that come in contact with it. And then, of course, there's the good old-fashioned threat of nuclear weapons. More than 60,000 of them held by governments right now, onboard aircraft, underwater submarines, missile cruisers. Back in the 1960s, many nuclear physicists believed that high-altitude detonations of hydrogen bombs could blow a hole in our atmosphere and that the planet could become dead. Still, the military went ahead with the test.
Teak, with a yield of 3.8 megatons, detonated nearly 50 miles above the surface of the Earth. The detonation created a violent magnetic disturbance in the atmosphere.
And the point I'm getting at here is that the mad scientist technocratic elite that runs our planet always engages in the most destructive, reckless behavior while lecturing us that we need a world government to keep rogue states from developing dangerous chemical, biological, and radiological weapons. The seeds of our destruction may have already been sown. It is imperative that we have a serious debate about the real threats facing us and not raptures and 2012 end-of-the-world garbage. There is no way that our society, that our civilization is going to survive if people don't start really getting wise about the real threats we face. If you are listening or watching this transmission, you are the resistance.
And I think we have to accept that that's where we are right now. That is where we are right now. I mean, that was Alex Jones. You all recognise Alex's voice. It sounds like he's been grating his throat, doesn't it? It does cheese grating his throat. It always does. If he doesn't smoke big cigars, I don't know what. But anyway, I mean, if you're going to shoot the messenger, you're going to miss the bloody target as usual, because I don't know if Alex is real or fake. But a lot of the stuff he comes out with, you can research it. you can find it for yourself. You can decide if it's true yourself, because this game is all about what you are actually comfortable with. And if you actually rely on other people for the truth, then they'll give you it, just like the newspapers do.
Yeah.
They'll give you their version of the truth. And that's what Alex does. And that's what David Icke does. And that's what Michael Tsarian does. And that's what everybody does when you look around you. They show you what they think is true. Because we're living in a stage. And I'll prove it to you after this. How many times do you sort of say, if I'd just given that 5 or 10 minutes thinking time? How many interviews have we done where we've got to the end of the interview and think, I forgot to ask that, I forgot to ask that. We listen back to the interview and think, why didn't we ask about this? We do rush around, don't we?
We do. But hopefully there's other times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, thinking for a minute, I mean, we've come to the conclusion that who gives us the information is not really of any relevance to us, is it?
Not really.
Because we've made a big enough picture, jigsaw, whatever you want to call it, that information that comes along, we know where to put it. And if it doesn't fit into our picture,
at that time,
we put it into the might be useful in the future jar.
Yeah.
Now, how many times in your lifetime have you gone and cleared out an understairs cupboard or a box from the attic, and a few days later you've thought, I can't believe I just threw out the very thing I now need. These things all link up together. Life is a synchronicity. It repeats on every single level. It is a never-ending hologram of circles within circles within circles within circles. That's what it is.
It is.
Circles, cycles, awake. It's all the same thing. And everybody is putting on a show, putting on the glitz.
Yeah.
Okay? And you've got to dress for the show.
Yeah.
Now, we have private shows behind closed doors.
We do.
That's in your own dress.
Yeah.
Okay? But then you go have public shows. And you have to dress for public shows. And that's where you open the stage door and go onto the bigger stage.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's where you enter the world and become whoever it is you've been told that you are. Now, we have a wonderful trick word in this language, and it is magic how they've done it, because it's so damn simple. The word is person. Person. The word is person.
Now there's a word.
There it is, and all the freemen will know that the word person is one of the major problems that we have with the rules and regulations that these legal eagles write. Now, the word person, we know, comes from the word persona.
Yeah.
And persona, people knew what a persona was a few hundred years ago. It wasn't that you were it, but you had one. And you could decide which persona you were. You could be in a good mood or a bad mood. You could be in a complimentary mood or an antagonistic mood. Whatever persona you wanted to portray, that's the persona you chose to have that day. And persona is like having a second mask. And when you go on stage, you put the mask on, you know, the mascara, you put the mask on of what it is that you think your audience want to hear. And because you've learnt your trade well, if you tell them what they want to hear, you will make a profit. Okay, that's how this game works. Not P-R-O-P-H-E-T, or is it P-R-O-P-H-E-T? Yeah. Or is it? Now, that depends on the information that you're passing over.
You've actually been given, yeah.
That's right, and how big your stage is. Because how big your stage is dictates how big your audience is. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and we've moved on to another stage. Is it going to be a bigger stage for us? Well, we're actually building the stage ourselves, aren't we? So it'll be as big as we need to build it, and we'll decide how big that is. Anyway, I digress. Persona. We have a persona, and we knew it was our staged character. And we would have coaches, okay? Coaches that would help us with our character on stage. You see, the links are starting to come in, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
But we weren't a persona, but we had a persona. Well, the word it's travelled through the language, and then it got itself attached to a word called personality.
Yep.
Smile, personality. Yep. Okay, walk, talk, remember?
Yeah.
And we just had Sports Personality of the Year.
We have, yeah.
And that clever little word, personality, managed to link persona to a real person. Now, that was a personality.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a man or a woman, it's a personality. And through the word personality, we accepted the word person, and we thought it was us, and it's not.
No,
it's not.
Far from us.
It's me and my shadow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our hue. But that's just one version of the word human. You see, it's not... Human doesn't just mean a shadow man. There's more to the word. It depends on which reality you're using it in. The word human was actually given, the furthest I can trace it back, is to black slaves. But now we're all humans. Now, I actually found something online today.
You did, yeah, which is very, very interesting.
Now, and I haven't really researched it, but I'm going to put this out there, and I'll put the link under the YouTube video when you actually get to it. If you listen to it live, it will be on YouTube within the next 48 hours, I think, for sure. And I'll put the link underneath, because I haven't had time to research this. But online, within a discussion group on Skype, I have been given links to the Slavery Abolition Act 1833. And it says, repealed 19th of November 1998. Now, I haven't done a lot of research into this yet, and I'm not sure if the fact that repealed means revoked or reversed. I'm not sure that's exactly what's happened here. But, has it? I've looked through, I don't understand the legalese as well as I could. But it clearly says there, doesn't it?
It does clearly
say. It clearly says
and
there.
It's definitely below the Her Majesty's mark coat of arms.
Slavery Abolition Act 1833, repealed 1911-1998.
Under the Lion and the Unicorn.
Yes, I will put this on the YouTube channel cast. Excuse me while I cough. I'll put this underneath the YouTube channel. We must remember we're doing this live, but people will be listening on YouTube, and the podcast of the whole show, including music, and all the cock-ups that we make along the way, will be live on podcast.
Proves we're not scripted.
So you'll be able to tell that this show is edited if you listen on YouTube. But if you want to hear the full show, okay, all the mistakes, all the music, all the cock-ups, it'll be on the podcast, which is again below what you're now looking at. I've remembered to do it.
You have.
I've finally remembered to do it. Now, where was I? Because we've done Alex. We're back on slavery.
Back on slavery.
Have we ever been free?
No.
No, we haven't, have we?
No, we haven't.
This Slavery Abolition Act was what? I got a question for you. Does the world run on lies or truth?
Good question. I believe it runs on lies.
It's got to, hasn't it?
Got to.
How is telling the truth doing for you?
We
spoke about this about 2 months ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we said, right, I'm going to stop pretending, and I'm going to start telling the truth.
Start saying it how it is.
How's it working out for you?
Not very well. Currently causing more arguments than I care to mention.
Chaos, isn't it?
Absolutely. People just can't seem to accept. We did the discuss. We did the words, didn't we? How we lie about saying no. I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, that's a no. I should be okay, but I'll check first.
Yeah.
That's a no. That's fine. That means it isn't. When a woman says that's fine, it's not fine. Right? It's not going to be fine. No. It's like that old adage. I remember when your partner says to you when you're out on a night out. I can't remember the words. Shall we have another? Right? You're not meant to say yes.
Yes. You're meant to say no. I think we'll get off.
We're not stopping for another, are we? That isn't an invite to say yes.
No, it isn't.
No.
It's no. Yeah.
But these are just funny. I mean, the girls can do it to us as well, because the guys are just as bad.
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow.
We are all as bad.
I'll do it
we
tomorrow.
Are. It just makes me laugh now, because once you've done that, you realise you're doing it all the time, and it is amazing how many times a day you do it.
And then you see other people doing it.
Yeah.
And you know that they're being polite.
Yeah.
And fibbing. I'm hearing stories of when I brought this up in the shop the other day, and people say, "I do that, you know." And I say, "What do you do?" I say things like, "I've got no credit on my phone."
Yeah.
I couldn't get back to you because I've got no credit
on my phone.
And I thought, that's a good one. I'm going to ask a few people.
Yeah. No, I haven't got any credit on my phone.
but people really say it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to talk or reply.
I can't be bothered to reply.
Yeah. And that seems to be the number one default
that
we have. is that I've no credit on my phone. These people sometimes have contracts. But anyway, never mind. There was a Ricky Gervais film, and was it called The Introduction of the Lie, I think?
Oh, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know about.
I'm not a Ricky Gervais fan, but he does understand these things that we're talking about. You can tell by the way he writes and the way he speaks, and he wrote. It's either introducing the lie or the introduction of the lie. And at the start of the film, he lives in a world where nobody tells lies. So whatever is said is accepted to be true, and so be it. And because everybody agrees that's the rules, the world appears to be a lovely, friendly place, with no problems, really. And he tells the first lie ever, because he's getting thrown out of his flat. He's lost his job because he isn't very good at it. He's getting thrown out of his flat or his apartment, and he goes down to the bank and said, I need to withdraw everything I have to pay my rent. And the girl says, the system's down today, but that's no problem, really. If you just tell us how much you've got in your account, I'll be able to give you it. I think he needs about $800 or $300. It doesn't matter the amount. I think it's about 8. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The amount's not important. He says the amount he needs to pay his rent and stay in his flat. But it's a lie. Well, of course, she's never heard a lie before.
No.
So she says, thanks very much, and she hands over the money. And that starts a sequence of events that doesn't make for a very good film for an entertainment point of view, but for watching the writing skill of the damage, the destruction, and the power it gives him. Now that's the clever part of the film. If you watch it with one eye closed, you won't enjoy it at all. But watch it with both eyes open and read the reactions and how he gains this power, and then how people follow him, and how telling one lie leads to another one, leads to another one, and within, I won't spoil the film any further, I think I've told you most of the story now. Within halfway through the film, he's been elevated to messianic status. That's where everybody is hanging on every single word. And I think Ricky Gervais has written that because that's what he sees on his picture.
Yeah.
That telling lies has fooled people for so many years that you eventually have to achieve messianic status. And we know the powers that be have always, that we can trace back, controlled most of the planet, or most of the civilized planet, for as far as we can go back, from the bloodlines of Egypt and forwards.
Yeah.
And whether that's true or not, I don't know.
We don't know.
But we're told it's true.
We're told it is.
Let's have the conversation that it could be true.
Yeah.
And everything does appear to back up that it might be true. And what have they done all the way through? Well, they've done all the way through what they did in Iraq. Exactly what they did in Iraq. If you remember, what's the first thing they did when they went into Iraq after telling the lies that he had weapons of mass destruction? I mean, the guy was saying, well, I haven't got it. And they were saying, well, we think you have. Well, he said, I haven't got it. And I said, well, we think you have. Well, I haven't got it. Well, prove it. Well, how the hell can I prove I haven't got something? We're going to send in weapons inspectors. Well, they never found them either, did they?
No, they didn't.
Stop them, did it? Didn't stop them, did it?
No.
What was the first thing they did? What was the first thing they did? They absolutely rifled the museums, yeah, and the libraries. They stole all the knowledge, destroyed everything. I'm sure they stole what they wanted and destroyed everything else. They wrecked the palaces and ransacked everything that you would call, you know, their culture, as it were.
Yeah.
They wrecked it. Well, I think we can say that plan's been going for a bit more than just the Iraq thing.
Yeah.
Because I think we can look at Afghanistan, back in Iraq, Syria, Libya. It's a game plan they've always done. And what they do is they occult the knowledge, don't they? Anything of importance, they occult it, and then kill everybody who knew it. So only they now know it. And over time, they become the keepers of the knowledge. And as people die, the knowledge now becomes uniquely powerful to them, because nobody else now knows it. And if you do that enough times, then you've actually created a complete illusion that people live in.
Yeah.
Because when you want to steal some knowledge, you have to replace it with a counterfeit. And that's what they've done.
That's exactly what they've done.
I mean, I do play a clip, and I will try and find it before the end of the show, because I do like playing it. I do feel all fired up this evening. Now, let's change subjects, okay?
Yep.
Let's change around a little bit and start on the UK male population, because that is who I believe is one of the major stumbling blocks in where we are today.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I do as well.
Okay, let's have a look at the UK male and what on earth is he up to, because I cannot understand why, when I say, have you got kids? And they say, yeah. And I say, do you think the world's getting better or getting worse? And they say, it's getting worse. I said, do you feel responsibility to your children to try your best to leave the world in a better state for them than it was left for you? And they say, yes. And I said, well, it's not really working out very well, is it? Do you think you perhaps could just rethink what you're doing? Do you think understanding the money system might help a little bit? Do you think that we're perhaps in a sophisticated system where the idea is that we all become poor? And after you've lost them. At that point, you've lost them. Because you're not on the subjects they know about. You've wandered off onto something they know nothing about. And usually, especially the old guys, I get them almost putting their hand on my shoulder. And sort of, oh, bless. They have that look where they feel sorry for me. They feel sorry for bloody me. And it's me who's trying to help them. I say, do you think the world's getting worse? Yeah. Do you want to come and have a cup of coffee and we'll see if we can chat and do something about it? No, I haven't got time, really, no. There's nothing we can do. That's broken. These are broken people. All slaves have to be broken.
They do.
Now, let's look closely at our male counterparts, because I am getting a little bit embarrassed to be associated with them. Because we're surrounded by the older generation that have actually had the best run that I can find out.
Yeah.
The generation after us, the 60-somethings, right? I know that the health problems they're encountering are very much part of the agenda. Well, let's not confuse this conversation.
But they've had the 50s,
They had
60s,
the 50s, the 60s, the
70s,
70s, the remarkable house prices,
Yeah.
the pensions that they're now receiving.
Yes, I'm going to say they're
That is the golden era. They've had it. They've lived through this cycle.
Yeah.
And they've got the deal that we are not going to
no,
get.
exactly that. We're not going to get that deal.
Now, I'm not blaming the older people.
No.
But they should take some responsibility for this. They should be able to, at an age that is old enough to say, do you know what, we didn't do so bad compared to what's going on, did we? And they can pat themselves on the back, and then they can say, perhaps we should help a little bit, and perhaps we should, do something to make sure our grandchildren have got something of value that we can leave behind. Because I openly speak to older people now, and I'll say, they are going to take your house off you when you get poorly.
Yeah.
You're going to get a painkiller, right, a walking stick, or a pair of prescription glasses. And after that, you're going to be paying. You are going to be paying. And if you can't pay, you just sign over and they'll take it out of your house when you're done. And if you really can't pay, well, I dread to think where you're going to eventually be put.
Yeah.
I dread to think when they make the care homes, they're closing now. We know that they can't make money. I'm not sure how true that all is, because when the government's involved, they're all non-profit organisations, because all the profit is kept by the organisations.
Yeah.
That's what a non-profit organisation is. They just bloody keep it all.
Yeah,
it's quite simple. Yeah,
I've done plumbing work in nursing homes, and
Yes.
they're not nice places. They run on shoestrings
because they want to make a profit.
Yes,
because they're private business.
They're private businesses,
and we see private businesses moving into the death management service now.
Yeah,
they've been behind the scenes controlling the death management service for some time, but now they're coming out into the open and privatising the bits that are profitable for them, which is obviously the dishing out of the pills.
There are people that work in the NHS or the death management service that work in it because they feel that they're doing good. We spoke to a lady the other day, didn't we?
I know.
And they are doing good. It's the management above them.
But what happened when we spoke to her after 10 minutes? We rocked her world in a way that she wasn't comfortable with, was she?
Well,
she wasn't comfortable with it, was she?
No.
Did she argue with us?
No, she didn't. No.
She said, "I don't know what to say. You've made me think in a way that I've never thought before, and I'm going to have to take some time to come back to you."
So the frontline people that are working it are just doing what they're told. They're working within And they've got mortgages to pay and bills to pay. And
I'm not. I know you're not. I'm criticising the big business, the big farmer.
Exactly, but
the farmer is now right. He's medicating his animals.
But some people have taken it that it's criticising the people that work in it, and that isn't and that I just wanted to get that across. Right. We're not criticising the people that work in the NHS. It's how it's been set up, and it's the big farmer, like you say, that have got involved, and all they're bothered about is peddling their wares.
Well, there's a bigger agenda, isn't there? I mean, there is a much bigger agenda. I mean, Mr. Gates' sits at the top of the tree of this. This is a population reduction agenda, and the people they openly talk about it and have been doing for some time. But let's get back on track. Yeah. Let's get back onto the UK Mail.
Yes.
Let's get started.
That may be part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a little snippet here. It says, there is even a name for this generation of young men that don't want to grow up. It's called the Peter Pan generation. They want to enjoy the benefits of being grown up without ever taking on the responsibilities. A member of this Peter Pan generation recently wrote in an article for the Daily Mail in which he discussed what he and his friends are going through. He says, I haven't yet had to grow up, so, I haven't. Reckless, irresponsible and immature. Yes, but at least I can take comfort in the fact I am not alone. And then he goes to say, last week I read that there is even a name for people such as me. We are the Peter Pan generation, a sizable group of 25 to 40-year-olds who exist in a state of extended adolescence, avoiding the trappings of responsibility, marriage, mortgage, children, for as long as possible.
All going to plan, isn't it? The breakup of the family unit. The total refusal now to take any responsibility for your own actions. I realise that buying a house is now more difficult than it ever was. Well, I know, but it is because you can't get the income.
But take it down a further level. Me and you, when we got to 16, 17, what did we want to do?
Yeah, we wanted to drive. We wanted to drive and buy a house.
We wanted,
they don't even have the drive to want to drive, do they?
Exactly.
That's right. They don't have the drive to want to drive.
And they look at the cost of the lessons and the 20 hours a week or whatever they're getting in Morrison's or Tesco or wherever they're working.
25 quid, and by God, it does take it off them. They do get less every time.
And by the time they've taken board, given the mum and dad some board, there's no one left for it.
No, I realise that. I know what's going on. But they haven't got the drive. I mean, I've got a 19-year-old girl that works for me and she drives.
Yes.
She drives and she works for me.
Yeah.
And she works for me part-time and she decided she wanted a car.
Yeah.
And so she sacrificed for it.
She saved up
She sacrificed for it, yeah. So well done to her. But it's now unusual for that to happen, isn't it? It is unusual. And they want us to stop driving. You can tell because the insurance companies are certainly helping along the way.
Exactly.
They're actually making sure that even if you want to drive, it's going to cost you just about everything you've bloody got.
When I learnt to drive, I went on my grandfather's insurance. And I tried to do that with my son. You can no longer do that anymore.
You can't do that, can you, at all?
No. They've taken that away now.
Okay.
You've got to have your own insurance. So, I know they're making it, but there are people that have had the drive to drive. Well, and going back to this drive thing, people have lost the drive.
Well, the word drive actually is derived from moving forward. Because, again, you look for the groups that the word belongs in. And remember, this is the way that language decodes to me. It's simple, it works, and it is almost faultless in the way that it works. Drive, thrive, strive. Okay, that's the group that it belongs in. And all those words are to move forwards.
Oh, yeah.
So drive is to move forwards, and they haven't even got the drive to drive. And I know why. It's because the fairground, the fairground attractions that we have around us now, they can't help but spend the money on the fairground attractions. And they can't stop themselves.
No.
They have to have this, and this. It's a bit like, I remember when I was very young, and I used to go to, we used to have a trip to Redcar. Now, Redcar is actually Redcar's improving, but that's by the by. We used to have an August bank holiday trip from the village that I lived in, and the whole village, nearly the whole village, jumped on the bus, one or two, I can't remember.
Did it involve the races?
No, we went to the seaside.
Yeah.
It was just a seaside trip for the village. I mean, I'm going back a few years now. You know, we didn't all have cars. And
the Sharabang trip.
Well, sort of.
On the bus.
Yeah, I suppose so. Anyway, we went to Redcar, and I remember when my mum said, I'm not coming with you. Go on, you're old enough now. I was about 11. And she said, no, you can go on your own. You know everybody. You remember where the bus is. You'll be fine. And I remember that I had, I don't know how much money I had. Let's say I had £3 or £4, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I had. And I remember that I wanted to go play on the fairground the minute I got there. But I knew if I did, I'd run out of money by 1:30. Right? So you had to make that money last all day.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know it's a very silly way of describing it, but that's what's happening with the kids. They want to play in the fairground all day.
Yeah.
And it leaves no money for anything else. Anyway, this is knocking the mills, because I have in my historical past been accused of being heavy on the girls, haven't I?
Yes.
Hard and heavy on the girls.
Yeah.
So, let's find someone about a few statistics on the guys. Okay, now, the males account, right, for approximately 70% of the marks D and below in the exams, okay?
Yes.
70%, the guys D and below. Right?
I would
Okay?
in that category.
Now then, we have a special educational needs programme in this country, and I think 23% is the last figure that I can remember. I might be a little bit wrong now, it might be 21 or... It's not 25, it's below 25, over 20, I think it's 23. 23, but this is 2010 figure, I think. 23% of 9 to 10-year-olds in this country are judged to need special educational needs, and 2/3 of those are boys.
Boys, yeah.
Boys, exactly. Now then, how much time do girls spend on video games? Well, it's around about 5 hours a week. How much time do boys spend on video games?
But it's 3 times that.
Well,
4 times
these
that.
figures are actually, I don't think these figures are exactly accurate, because I don't think they've told the truth.
No.
It says 13 hours here, but I've looked at this research before, not off this particular website, but I've seen figures of much higher. I've seen figures that the UK is the highest internet usage, especially in under 18s, throughout the world.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's true, but what I can see with my own eyes tells me that it might be. And I'm not going to argue the truth. I'm going to talk about what I can see.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not is for you to decide. I'll tell you what I can see, and you'll decide if you can see it. And if you can see something different, tell me what it is. And it may well alter what I see.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with all of that. There is no problem at all. You know, I wish people could get this.
Yeah, we're not on
idea.
a fight to be right.
Well, I think most people are. I think if you go on Fightbook, right, if you go on Fight Club, Fightbook, whatever, right, you will find...
We should set up Fightbook.
You will find an endless... I remember being on Fightbook before, and you can find an endless threads of, I'm going to have the last word here. No, I'm going to have the last word here. No, I'm going to actually have... It's like being bloody married, right? And it happens all the time. It is War and Peace. Whether you like it or not, we're at war and peace all day with everybody. And these people that say they want peace, well, you make me laugh. You make me laugh. You do make me laugh. I'm not sure you do. Peace on your terms, maybe. Right, what else we got? Let's have a look. That's all video games. That's all video games. All more video games. Right, now, you've got a science actual figure there, haven't you?
Yeah,
about science.
which relates to what we're talking about now. It says the pupils in England have slumped down international league tables in science behind the likes of Hungary and Slovenia. Reports published yesterday show the country fell from 7th to 15th place in just 5 years. Maths performance also stalled, although reading improvement slightly. Not mine, obviously. Shadow Education Secretary Stephen Twigg, but where do they get these people from? Blamed 10,000 fewer teachers and cuts to primary school programmes. Oh.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that will partly be true, of course.
Of course it will, yeah.
True. But when you've got teachers who can't, I mean, you know, what can the teachers do, really? I mean, if you can't see teachers... I mean, teachers didn't always be like this, but too many are now like this. They are the repeaters that copy and paste what they want you to copy and paste and repeat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we all know, don't we, that virtual land, as I call it, that virtual land is going to take over the role of the teacher, because a teacher won't be needed. Now, I actually went to visit my old primary school last Christmas, A friend came over from South Africa, and we met up, and we did the. This is where we used to go to school, and we got welcomed in. And some of the changes were absolutely remarkable. The first thing is that basically the kids couldn't get out. Okay, the kids couldn't get out.
And the fences got bigger.
They'd got a lot bigger. Right, the kids couldn't get out. That was the first thing that I remember. And it was a voice-controlled entry and exit system. You know, and it was. So we did get in. I mean, but it was the kids couldn't get out. It was a prison. It's an open-air prison.
Yeah.
And another thing that I remember when I walked I didn't even get to school so far, and that is that when I went to school, we had 2 playgrounds. Well, one playground, but divided by a wall. And the infants were in one playground, and the juniors were in the other. So the 5 to 7s were in that one, and the 8 to 11s, I think it is. They're in the juniors one. And you didn't mix. You didn't go and play with the little ones. And if the little ones came through, you soon sent them back in there. So the first thing I actually realised was the playground wall had gone. Okay, now it was one big playground, and there was lots and lots of baby games to play. Ball games and things to ride on, and little, you know, roll this and rock this and push that. And the games were spaced around the entire playground. And what I actually observed happening was, at playtime, was that the juniors were challenging the infants to play those games.
Right.
Now, do you see where I'm going here?
I do, yeah.
That the juniors were showing off to the infants because they could beat them at the games. But I saw that mix as a real blocker for the juniors to be growing up.
Yeah, to actually grow up.
Because they were beating the infants.
Yeah.
I'm not getting this over.
No, because they'd not really progressed from infants, really, was they? If they were taking on the infants.
They just got better at playing the game.
Yeah,
and
at the infantine level.
I haven't got into school yet. Right, I finally got into school. Isn't everything tiny? It was really tiny. They passed me a chair to sit on. I thought, I'm going to need 2. Anyway, first of all, we used to have classroom, dining room come hall, and then classroom. So we had 3 rooms, 1, 2, 3. They're all one in a line. The divides had gone. Right, the divides had completely gone. The infants were at the bottom end, of course, and the dining hall, come assembly, come do everything room was in the middle still, and the juniors were in the front end. But the whole school was open. There was no walls at all. Okay, there was plenty of Union Jacks around, which I noticed actually. There was 2 or 3 or 4 Union Jacks around. I don't know what the reason was for that. Maybe it was just because it was a big year this year, I think. So don't infer that, you know. But it was the 2012 celebrations and that sort of thing.
Olympic year.
Yeah, but this is Christmas last year, remember? So I'm a little bit like, you know, what were the flags there? Anyway, never mind. Flags are flags. We know what flags are. It's just like football shirts. Pick your flag and support it. I love this country, by the way. I just don't trust the government to run it in my interest. The school was wide open, and the little ones, okay, they were cooking. Right, they're all cooking, just little cakes and stuff like that, and it was nice. But they were cooking, and everything that I could see in their part was very babyish, very, very babyish. Almost like the books that I would have read to my daughter when she was 3 and 4.
Right,
they were very babyish. Maybe I'm wrong here.
No, you're right.
But I'm going to the juniors now, and the juniors were being instructed by a computer screen. Now, the teacher was pointing out and making sure everybody kept up. This is this and this is that, and but the computer was doing the teaching. The teacher was stood to the side, making sure everybody was keeping up. And it was noisy. It was really noisy. There was, I mean, when I was in lessons, you could not chatter.
No, your fingers, I remember, fingers on lips.
Yeah, you couldn't do that. But it was noisy. The little ones were pretty much allowed to make a level of noise that was interrupting and influencing the juniors. It was too loud.
Right.
And that's what I took from this. And it was entry controlled, exit controlled. The kids were the camera in the school. The school office was secure, as it were. So, you know, a mad axeman couldn't get in or whatever. You know, I mean, they've got us all frightened to schools nowadays. They really have got us. I mean, we won't cover the American thing because that is a tragedy.
It is.
No matter what's behind it, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of a scale that, you know, but we have to sometimes put it into context. You know, how many women and children have we paid for bombs for? How many women and children have we paid for the bullets for? We have to put this in context.
We do.
I mean, Barack Obama's fake bloody tears are Barack Obama's fake bloody tears.
And when we've had a dumb blame and stuff, haven't we? We're not immune from that.
Who knows? The conspiracy behind these things.
Well,
I mean, the gang will tell me that it was a setup, it was an inside job, it was a false flag.
Yeah. I've seen all that.
Let's just remember the people who died.
Yes.
Because they didn't have anything to do with that.
No.
They didn't have anything to do with that.
No.
If we're going to talk about this tragedy, let's do it another day.
Yeah.
Let's not do it now.
No, it's not the time to do it.
It's not for us.
No.
It's not for us, it isn't. We just have to remember that these were little kids.
It's a sick world we live in.
These were little kids. These were little kids.
And we live in wards, and we've got to get better at this.
We are sick, and we do live in wards, and we've been operated in for a long time. That's why the stickers and addresses.
Yeah, and we have to go to another level and rise above it and beat them at their own game. We can stop it if we wanted to. If going back to what we were saying earlier, if when you've chatted to people in your shop, and I've chatted to people as well, and that's all you get. Oh, what can we do about it?
They feel powerless. They've stole all the power off us.
They have.
But they haven't really.
They haven't. No.
But they've made us think they have.
They've got.
You know, I mean, you and I have talked about this, and we're both busy now looking at the stage that we're building next. It is going to be called "Why You Should Say No." Okay, or what you should know. All right, and it's not going to be spelled K-N-O-W. No, it's going to be spelled N-O. Why you should know, what you should know. Okay, and like I say, it's not K-N-O-W, it's N-O, because that is the most powerful word we have. All the rules, the regulations, the statutes, whatever, they're just words on paper. Well, they've enslaved us by words, and we'll unslave ourselves by using our own words. Using theirs, we will lose. We will lose. I had a lawyer in the shop a little while ago now. I often tell this story. And I said to him, I'd love to have a chat with you. I said, because I'm curious how much of the law you actually know. I would like to ask you questions about the difference between legal and lawful. I would like to know what it is that you guys, you know, are you really helping your customer? Or are you invested in basically getting paid as much as possible by engineering a fight with the other side? Because you really want to get into court, because that's where the fight begins. You know, that's the boxing ring, as it were. And, you know, do you really try? And he was like, oh, yeah, whatever. So I'd love to talk to you. I wouldn't repeat it. I'd just love to talk to you about how it really works. And he said, well, to be honest, he said, we probably don't know the law much better than you do. But we know you don't know the law. That's what he said. We know you don't know the law. So we've got so many ways of interpreting it. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, no.
Because it didn't say this now. I'm not quoting him anymore. But this is defend yourself if you can afford it.
Yeah.
Because that's the way this system's going now. It's guilty unless you can afford to prove yourself innocent. And I think over time they will be, and they'll be able to criminalise us all, because they'll just keep making laws until they do. And then the people that have got the money, they're the ones that they'll perhaps have a little go at. Because it's pointless picking on somebody who hasn't got a penny to bless themselves with. But it makes perfect sense to pick on the ones that do. And see if they're prepared to defend themselves. Because if they are, they'll probably empty the bank account. And if they aren't, well, it's prison. Yeah. This is going to be the easiest way to silence dissent. This is going to be the easiest way to do it. Do you want to pay and lose? Or do you want to go to prison? The choice is yours.
Yeah.
Because that's how they're going to silence dissent, in my opinion. I mean, how many people are going to turn up to the next Battle of Trafalgar? Because that's not the way it's going to work, is it?
No.
But that's the way we think it's going to work. That's the way everybody talks about.
They do.
Let's get our banners, let's get our protests, let's get our groups, let's get our causes,
Yeah.
Let's hire the buses and let's go and shout at the criminals. They know they're bloody criminals. Why are we going to their place of work to confirm that they're bloody criminals?
For them to stand at the window, high up, looking down,
exactly.
laughing.
That's exactly it. You mentioned the New York
Occupy Wall Street
gang, yeah.
As they walked through Wall Street,
and the bankers were quaffing champagne and laughing their heads off
in the balconies, looking down, laughing at them.
just like the landed gentry of the years gone by. Go on, tell me the other one. Tell me the other example that we were laughing at. What did they used to build? They started building them again now, haven't they? But in the early part of the 20th century, what were they doing? They were building mazes, weren't they?
Yeah, so we were talking about that earlier.
They were building mazes, weren't they?
But they built a maze in the manor house, didn't they?
They built a maze for the masses to play.
On the front lawn, usually, wasn't it?
And they built it for us to go playing, didn't they? And they laughed because we didn't know we couldn't get out. We went down dead end after dead end. And cul-de-sac after cul-de-sac.
And they'd look from the big window, looking down on top of it, and they could see you the way out.
Amazing.
Amazing,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And we loved it, didn't we? Yeah, and then they managed to build fairgrounds for us, where the games were rigged.
They were rigged,
There was nothing fair about those games, was there?
No.
Nothing at all.
No.
And they where did we start here?
We're
miles off
going
track.
back to the red. Well, it came back to the red car one, didn't it? When you went to the red car and you're working out if you'd have enough money to last you all day at the fair.
Well done for saving me. I'd forgotten where we started. I'd forgotten where we started.
Oh, well, we're on. Back to mention it where they can find us.
Yeah, I mean, you probably listen to this on YouTube after the event. We do broadcast live, and the podcast is below what you're looking at now, below the picture that you're looking at now. The podcast includes all the tunes we play, all the mistakes we play, and many of the waffling stuff that we go along with that perhaps would be too long to put in a YouTube episode. Yeah, because sometimes, you can only listen for so long to people like you and I waffling on.
Yeah.
But whether it's helping, or whether you're smiling to yourselves, or whether you want to use anything we say, or help us by send us a message.
Yeah, please send us a message.
Yeah, you can go to the YouTube channel, just go to the message, just go to the homepage, the Unpenned page, and just click the message bit, and just send us a message.
Whether you like us or you don't.
It doesn't matter, we're not bothered.
We like the ones where they don't like us, don't we?
We do like the ones because...
we have a giggle about them, don't we?
Yeah, because we decide to take it on board, don't we?
Yeah, we do, We're
not offended.
No.
We actually think, well, okay, is that a good critique?
It was, and there was one, and if they do happen to come across this, us talking again, I think, and they put, there's a guy that talks and the guy that doesn't talk. And I hope I've redressed that for you.
They deserve it. They deserve it. Now, I'm actually going to tell a story of a delivery guy that delivers to me, but I'm not going to go into too much detail because otherwise there are some people who would know who I'm talking about, and that's not what I'm here to embarrass anybody.
No.
But this guy, okay, he's not married, okay, but in a relationship, and he's got 2 young kids, okay, 2 young kids. Finding times hard, right? Finding times hard. Yeah. He's 34 years old, right? His solution to finding times hard is going back home to live with his mum and dad, because she'll be better off without him.
Yeah.
Now that is...
I can understand the desperation.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. He's actually moving back with his mum and dad because she'll be better off without him.
And he is working.
He is working full time, yeah.
And we get...
I mean, that is a broken system, isn't it?
This
is a really broken system.
They are making us poor.
I have somebody I know, 60-something, can't remember how old he is, doesn't matter how old he is, was a professional in the steel industry, did very well over the years. But the steel industry, like many construction industries, they've fallen into the doldrums. I think over the, was it sort of August, September, October, November time? The construction industry has had the biggest fall in years. Yeah. Well, he lost his job a long time before that, 2.5 years ago. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back on the story. This is a professional gentleman of an age 60-something. Okay? Too old, yeah. Now fighting for, today's new steel construction engineering type fellas, very much into computers, very much, he couldn't keep up. So he had to decide to change career. And well done to him, well done. He said, I'm going to get a job locally and obviously try and work through to the 65 market. Yeah. And he got himself a local job. I'm not going to say where because, again, that will identify who it is, and I'm not here to embarrass anybody. No. Right? He can't earn enough money, right? He can't earn enough money to live independently in a one-bedroom flat. Yeah. Can't do it. He works full-time job. Yeah. Okay, it's just a service industry job. But I don't say it in the way that means just is derogatory. I've got a fish and chip shop, which is a service industry job. Yeah. I employ people of the same type. Yeah. And they're lovely. I've got a cracking staff. I'm the luckiest guy that I know with staff. Yeah. They're brilliant. Without them, I'd have nothing. So I'm not being derogatory. But this is showing you how broken the system is.
It is.
He can work a full-time job and cannot cannot earn enough money to pay his bills in a little one-bedroom flat.
Well, leading on to the one-bedroom flats, I work for people that rent properties out, and because the bills have got so expensive, they've had to put all the flats onto their own little private meters, pay-as-you-go electricity meters. And the type of buildings I'm talking about are big Victorian buildings that have been converted into flats. Now, they've got high ceilings, no insulation in the walls, no insulation in the floor, drafty old windows because they're classed as Grade 2 listed buildings, so you can't touch them.
Well, you can, but you have to put back exactly what you take
if
out.
But I was doing some work there, and I was trying to dry the flat out to do some decorating, to get it ready for somebody else to move in, because they'd had a leak, and it had damaged the walls, blah, blah, blah. And I had the little fan heater plugged in, and I had it plugged in for an hour on a 2 kilowatt heater, and it ate up £2 in 2 hours. So it costs £1 an hour to run a little 2 kilowatt electric fan heater, and it wasn't enough to heat the room.
They've stolen our energy on every level, haven't they?
They are.
And now they're harvesting us. They're harvesting us. I know we've driven past petrol stations.
I drove past a tanker today. And which tanker was it?
Harvest Energy.
It was the Harvest Energy tanker.
Because we now see the big picture. That we are
the energy.
We are the fish, with the fish, and the water.
Yes.
We make this reality.
There's your duality.
But with the fish, and the water is the money. The water is the money. And Monai, well, you decide your translation for that. Monai is my eye or one eye, or mono eye. Okay, or like monocle. It's up to you on the translation of money, but we all know the one eye symbolism.
Yeah.
But it doesn't just mean money. It means illumination. It means
does.
the top of the summit. It means the sun. It means all those things.
Yeah.
So to fight about what the eye actually means, at another level, it means Big Brother.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an all-seeing eye.
Yeah.
That you can apply to every single level. And I hear people arguing about what it means. It means all those things and many more.
Yeah.
You know, we are moving to a period where at one level, God's son is going to die on the 21st. And 3 days later, he's going to be born
rise again.
But that's just one level. Was Jesus real? I don't know.
We don't know. No.
I don't know. It's a great story. And we know basically everything around us is false to some extent. Was Jesus? Doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter. Those people who go to church are happy to follow the story.
Yes.
And they live in a way that you cannot really criticise. But unfortunately, they take it literally. Instead of an allegory of how we should be living.
Yeah.
Well, I do take it as an allegory of how we're living. No, you really believe Jesus. If you can't believe in something that you can't see, touch, taste and feel,
but you
can't confirm it's real. And if they keep saying to you, look, make do with being poor, because your rewards will be in heaven.
Exactly, they're waiting for a saviour.
Exactly.
Wait, somebody's coming to save you. Somebody. Oh, no.
But haven't you realised that weight has been taken off our shoulders?
Yeah.
We're not waiting for anybody,
I'm not waiting for anybody anymore.
But
I'm not following any leader.
You see the connection between the words. If they sound the same, they are the same.
They are the same,
The weight has been taken off your shoulders. You're now empowered, enlightened.
And I can lift myself up.
You can now raise yourself up to be the man that you always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because your ability has no longer been capped. Because they cap ability. And they call it capability.
They do, yeah.
And you just don't get it, do you? We'll tell you, what we'll do is, we'll teach you, in the loosest sense of the word, something we'll call lessons, which we're going to try and convince you it'll give you more. Whatever. And we'll tell you, by examining you, because all patients have to be examined.
They have to be examined.
Okay?
Yeah.
We'll examine you, and we'll tell you what your capabilities are. And you just don't get its capabilities. You just don't bloody get it, do you? The ability of the cape. Even schoolmasters used to wear them, didn't they?
They do, yeah, and still do in some schools.
Well, who knows? I'm sure Oxford, Cambridge, Eton, and the like.
Yes,
I'm sure.
Westminster,
the
and all
ability
those.
of the cape, along with the lords and the justices and the judges,
and
the peers,
and the fancy dress brigade,
the master of the rolls. It's all there. You
It
don't
is.
have to look very hard, really. You don't have to. It's obvious.
No,
but the difference between the word obvious, if you put a lie in it, if you put L-I into obvious, you get the spell
Oblivious.
oblivious, because you can't see the bloody lie, can you?
No.
It's right in front of you, but you still can't see the lie. To us, it's obvious. To everybody else,
Oblivious.
scary, isn't it?
It is.
Back to the guys. Back to the
back
guys.
to the
because
guys.
I'm not finished
No.
poking the guys in the eye.
We used to
I'm not done poking the guys
we
in the eye.
used to go to war. We looked after our and kings used to go to war. They used to go to the battlefield.
Pick
the
a field.
kings.
Pick a field.
And going
That's
back
how it was.
going back to 1066, it was two kings that fought each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was Harold and it was not Edward. The French guy.
William the Conqueror was around then as well. What was he up to?
That was it. William.
I was gonna
William
say,
the Conqueror.
I thought he was around.
He defeated Harold,
He
didn't
did.
he?
He did,
And-
then took all the land off us. Well, I made
he
the
did.
first bid for all the land.
But it were guys that went out and we fought for things that we went out to fight and protect our
Yeah,
families.
but in days of old, when knights were bold, you picked a field.
You did.
You didn't include the women and bloody children.
And you didn't go on Call of Duty and you didn't go through, as we did in World
Yeah,
War II,
exactly.
we took it into the urban. We took it into people's houses.
I know.
That's when the,
I know.
that's when
The
and-
rules of engagement changed
and
completely.
the politicians who were the kings at the times took a back seat. They didn't do the fighting. They let us idiots do it. Now that's how things have changed. But the men need to change.
The men need
the men need to
well,
get the bollocks back.
I don't think they can be called men anymore. I don't think so. I mean, I'm reading about these. Where did I pick this up? Onesies, right? They're called bloody onesies. Where did I pick this up? Somewhere, I don't know. I just a little snip called bloody onesies, right? They're all-in-one sleep suits,
Yes.
right?
Pathetic, aren't they?
I don't think they're for sleeping in. I think people wear them.
Goofball.
Goofballs, exactly. To quote Jordan Maxwell,
George
from a
Maxwell.
long years ago. I remember the first time we listened to Jordan, that was a few years ago now,
Yeah.
he said goofball.
Goofball.
And you laughed. And you
I
laughed.
did. It will stay with me till
You
the grave.
loved that word. But they're called onesies.
Yeah.
They're called bloody onesies. And the sleep suits for grown-ups.
Yeah.
Oh, I've lost where I'm going now. Well,
I've seen them.
stupidity.
Hey, the blokes. We need to stop falling for the crap that they feed us.
It's just...
The men need to.
They're never going to leave home, are
They
they?
need to man up.
But they're never going to leave home, are they? They're not going to stand on their own 2 feet.
No.
You see, actually, on this YouTube channel that you probably listen to now, there is a previous video that's actually been loaded that I did in April this year. And it's about the story of fish and ships. And cowards and bullies, so, you know, cows and bulls. And it's about sheep and rams and kids and lambs. And it's a whole story woven into the language. And it's the video before this one. Have a listen to it. So I don't need to repeat myself. Have a listen to it. Because we are speaking into reality the very laws of the sea that they want us to enact on land. This is the duality on just one level. And you think individual is one? It can't be. It's individual. It can't be bloody one.
No.
I mean, I remember, I'm going to play something now, and I remember listening to this, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. And I've picked all these little clips because we're guest free tonight, and I've picked these clips because I'm trying to do a show that you would call a starter type show. I want to do shows where people who haven't heard this information before are not immediately turned off by the fear factor, the bloody killing us. They can find that out for themselves and act as they want to. But I'm trying to develop a method of presentation that will attract regular people and then poke them in the eye with information just like this. Listen carefully.
The state of the union is not good.
Our trade deficit is too large. We must not go back to unwise spending.
This is America.
George Orwell once wrote that the great enemy of clear language is insincerity. When there is a gap between one's real and one's declared aims, one turns, as it were, instinctively to long words and exhausted idioms, like a cuttlefish spurting out ink. You've probably heard confusing phrases like the trade deficit, the falling dollar, the national debt, unfunded liabilities, and so on, which all sound vague and actuarial and vaguely, well, not me. The reality behind these accounting phrases is perfectly monstrous. When someone, a foreigner say, loans money to the American government, what are they getting in return? Well, they are getting promises of interest payments and eventual repayment of the principal. Where does your government get this money? The government is not a business. It does not generate profits in the free market. So where does it get the money to repay its creditors? Are you beginning to understand that it is not dollars that are being sold, or bonds, or agency debt, or treasuries, or anything like that? Where is your government going to get the money to pay off its creditors? It's not pieces of paper, or contracts, or computer bits that are being sold. There is only one thing that the government has to sell. Governments have only one asset that they can use as collateral. Your leaders are selling you. When China lends $800 billion to your government, what they get in return is a guarantee that $10,000 plus interest will be taken from your family at gunpoint and shipped overseas. When a farmer gets a loan from a bank, he uses his livestock as collateral. It is the milk and meat his cows will produce in the future that he will use to pay off his loan. The bank is buying a share in his cows. You are the livestock that your leaders use as collateral. The leaders that you cheer for and throw parades for and drop balloons behind and donate money to are selling you to Chinese rulers, to the Japanese, to the Nigerians, to South American drug lords with accounts in the Caribbean banking centers, to Russia, to Korea, to Egypt, to Colombia, to Chile, to the Philippines, to Malaysia, and anyone else who is willing to give them a few dollars in return for the blood, sweat, and toil of your future. The flag that you praise and the anthems that you sing and the rulers that you weep and kneel before have as much loyalty to you as a plantation owner had to his slaves. And sadly, plantation slaves had more pride than we do. Plantation slaves did not generally praise their masters for selling them off, for auctioning off the lives, hopes, dreams, and futures of their own little children. We can understand that cattle may lick the hand of the farmer who lowers an axe to its neck, because cattle are dumb beasts that cannot comprehend their real relationship with the farmer and his imminent plans for them. What is our excuse? When we chant, USA, 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 when we cheer and bow and beg and scrape and sing and weep with joy that some new farmer now presides over the wholesale dismantling and sale of our family's futures, when we love with obsessive emptiness the leaders who laugh while they auction us off to every tin pot dictator and stockbroker the world over, what is our excuse? Has our pride been so broken that we lunge with pathetic joy at every new silver-tongued demagogue who pretends to care for us even a tiny little bit? In the future, our children will demand to know why we knelt and cheered as they were sold off on the auctioneer's block. This video, and my life's work, is my answer to my child. What's yours?
Okay, 9 minutes to 11. We have 9 minutes to fill, and I'm sure we'll have no problems doing that at all. Let's talk about it. We've avoided it all night. Christmas. And I know we can find no end, absolutely no end at all, of information online about Christmas. And I know the Satan Santa thing, and you're right, it is a spell of Satan and Santa.
Yep.
And Satan and Santa... fair in fairy tale land wear the same colours, Yeah, red, white and black. And we know red, white and black are also the erotic colours of the underwear that the girls wear. And we know all that stuff. And yes, it's the Satan clause. If you do as Satan asks you, the clause is that he'll visit you in the dark night and leave a little something for you. And he rides around in his sleigh because he wants to enslave us all. I understand all that. And do you know what? It might be what people are told above us. That might be true. And I know Santa sits in a grotto and that's what the Satanists collecting as well. I'd forgotten that bit. But if that's true, it's only true for them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only true for them. Because at this level here, what does Christmas mean to you?
It means my family getting together. That's what it means to me.
And do you know what it is? It's a feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's nothing more.
No, because it gives you a good feeling when you get together.
It's a magical feeling that somehow we can generate one day a year.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go and see my mum Christmas morning.
Yeah.
She's up in Massam. She's with all her friends, and she left nearly 3 years ago now. But I remember when I went last year, and I actually parked a little way from the graveyard. For some reason, I actually wanted to walk. I don't know why. There was no reason. I could have parked almost, but I didn't. I wanted to walk. And because, obviously, the church is busy on Christmas morning, I actually timed it so pretty much the people were coming out, really. I mean,
yeah.
I just did. That's how it worked. It felt rude not to say hello and Merry Christmas, to all of them. All of them.
Yeah. And
when I came out, there was people obviously travelling, you know, they were going from house to house and dropping the presents off and going wherever they were busy with. I know they would have been offended if I hadn't said good morning and Merry Christmas, because I would have been offended if they didn't say it to me.
Yeah.
How does that work? How does that work one day a year? I mean, that needs some scientific investigation, I think.
Well, I've got a split in my family because my
Hang on, are we getting you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just a dicky connection there.
It's you, I think.
I think it is.
You're just talking too much.
But I don't want to. Religion divides people. My mother and my stepfather, who did bring us up and put food on the table, but they're in the Jehovah's Witnesses and they don't celebrate Christmas. They say it's a pagan. It's not.
Well, it is, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No,
that's what it means to them.
It means to them, and so they won't have anything to do with Christmas. So we miss out then, because unfortunately the holidays are only at Christmas. We have Christmas Day off.
It was the Feast of Saturn earlier, and it was almost a full-blown bloody orgy at one point.
Oh, well,
I mean, Christmas is a really new invention over the year. Well, you can find all this stuff out on YouTube.
I won't be inviting Jimmy Savile this year, so none of that will be going on.
No. But we like Christmas. We like it.
Yeah.
I know there's loads of people say we don't like it, it's a commercial rip-off, and it's all for big business, and it's been stolen from us, and the people who say that are absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's been stolen from them. And they've gone and spent hundreds, and then bloody moaned about it.
Yeah.
Well, how stupid is that? It's like going to a restaurant, you know the price of something, it arrives, you eat it, and then you moan about the price. That's ridiculous. That's stupid thinking. That's backwards, upside down, what would be called idiot thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what these people do. They moan about it and then go buy everything. Well, you just have to feel sorry for those people. Buying things doesn't make you rich.
It doesn't.
Makes you bloody poor. Anyway, it is a big thank you to everybody for listening. Now, I must say that if you listen on YouTube, and I know you will be, I hope you will be, this show is broadcast live on Tuesday evenings. But we're having a couple of weeks off.
Yes.
This is the 18th of December 2012. The next time we'll be back on is January the 8th, 2013.
Right.
The world will still be here.
It will.
All right. Everything will be the same, except it might be a bit colder. And we'll all be regretting how much money and how much we spent. Well, I won't, because we don't need to spend. But anyway, we'll all be regretting what we didn't do for another year. So let's make sure 2013...
How can they listen to us live, though?
By going to Blog Talk, it'll be on your Facebook page.
Right.
It'll be on my Facebook page.
Very good.
We'll put both those connections below this YouTube video.
Yeah.
They can friend us on Facebook.
Right.
And comment all they like.
Very good.
So, podcast, live show connection, your Facebook page, my Facebook page, and messages through the YouTube channel.
Very good.
That's it. Merry Christmas and
Merry
thanks
Christmas.
for listening. Cheers, Mehdi. Thank
you. Cheers.